The king was surprised, but nodded. Yes, my daughter, you may join the challenge. We are proud of your bravery. Princess Chiamaka joined the other women in the line. She wanted to help Chijioke find his happiness, just like everyone else. The village people were even more excited now, knowing that the princess was part of the challenge. The first woman to try was Amara. She was very beautiful, with a kind heart. She took a deep breath and walked into Chijioke's house. The door closed behind her, and everyone waited outside, feeling curious and excited. Inside the house, Chijioke and Amara lay down in bed. Amara smiled at Chijioke and said, "I will do my best to satisfy you." Chijioke smiled back, hoping that maybe Amara could help satisfy him. Outside, the village people waited quietly. They could hear faint sounds from inside the house and wondered what was happening. The king and queen watched closely, their eyes full of hope. After 30 minutes, the door opened slowly. Amara stepped outside, looking very tired. She was breathing hard, and her face was red. The village people could see that she had tried very hard. Amara walked up to the king and queen, and they smiled at her kindly. Queen Daisy said, "You did very well, Amara. We are proud of you." Amara nodded and said, "I tried my best, but I could not satisfy Chijioke." Chijioke came out of the house looking sad. He thanked Amara for trying so hard. He felt bad that she had to go through so much effort and still could not satisfy him. The village people felt sorry for Amara, but clapped to show their respect for her hard work. The next woman in line stepped forward. It was Ifeoma. She took a deep breath, ready to try and make Chijioke happy. As Ifeoma walked into the house, the door closed softly behind her. Inside, Chijioke and Ifeoma started their challenge. But soon, the villagers heard something unexpected. They heard screaming coming from inside the house. The villagers looked at each other, feeling worried and unsure of what was happening. The screaming continued for a while, and then it stopped suddenly. The villagers waited anxiously, wondering if everything was okay. After what felt like a long time, the door opened and Ifeoma stepped outside. She looked very tired, and her clothes were a little messy. Her face was red, and she was breathing hard. The villagers could see that she had tried very hard to satisfy Chijioke. Ifeoma ran outside, looking exhausted after spending a long time with Chijioke. Seeing outside the women were coming outside from the house, the king, Obi, felt worried. He looked at his daughter, Princess Chiamaka, and shook his head. He didn't want her to go through the same tiring experience. "Princess," he said gently, "I don't think you should enter the house. It looks very tiring for the women. Let's not make you go through that." Princess Chiamaka looked disappointed, but nodded. She understood that her father was worried about her. She wanted to help Chijioke find happiness, but she didn't want to make him or herself feel tired and unhappy. The villagers felt sorry for Ifeoma and clapped to show support. They knew she had tried her best, but it seemed like Chijioke was still not happy. Chijioke thanked Ifeoma for trying so hard, but he looked sad. He knew he had to keep searching for his happiness, even though it seemed very difficult. The villagers watched quietly, feeling sad for Princess Chiamaka. They knew she wanted to help, but they also understood the king's decision to protect his daughter. They all hoped that Chijioke would find his happiness soon, without anyone getting too tired or hurt. The challenge continued, but without Princess Chiamaka joining. The women of the village took turns trying their best to satisfy Chijioke. Each one hoped that she could be the one to bring joy to Chijioke's heart. As the challenge continued, the villagers watched with bated breath, hoping that someone would finally succeed in bringing happiness to Chijioke. But despite their efforts, one after another, the women emerged from the house, looking tired and defeated. Chijioke thanked each woman for her efforts, but his heart remained heavy with dissatisfaction. The king and queen watched with concern, wishing there was something more they could do to help. Meanwhile, Princess Chiamaka sat quietly beside her parents, feeling a mix of disappointment and relief. She was sad that she couldn't help Chijioke, but she was also glad that her father had protected her from the exhausting challenge. As the sun began to set, signaling the end of the day, Chijioke realized that none of the women had been able to satisfy him. He felt disheartened, but he knew that he couldn't give up on his quest for happiness. With a heavy heart, Chijioke thanked the villagers for their support and bid them farewell. He knew that his journey was far from over and that he still had to search for the missing piece of his happiness. The king and queen wished Chijioke luck on his journey, promising to support him in any way they could. And as Chijioke disappeared into the distance, the villagers prayed that he would eventually find the happiness he was searching for. But little did they know, the journey was just beginning, and the mystery of Chijioke's happiness was far from being solved. The moral of Chijioke's story is that true satisfaction comes from within. It cannot be given by others. It must be discovered by oneself. Chijioke understood that he needed to find peace and joy in his own heart, not by searching outside of himself. Here is a little advice for everyone. Always remember to be kind to yourself and find joy in the simple things in life. Take time to appreciate the beauty around you and the people who care about you. Happiness is often found in the small, everyday moments that make life special. Another interesting story is dropping soon. Do well to subscribe to this channel for you not to miss out on the other stories. It is completely free. Thank you for watching. Bye.